Turns out I'm a complete idiot. There's nothing better than September baseball. And can we please stop talking Mitch Marner, Toronto Maple Leafs? All on the next 1420 Sports Bar podcast. For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Let's get into her.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast. For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Join host Brent Radlinsky as he bellies up to the bar and gets the conversation going that'll make you think you're sitting in your local watering room. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans. So sit back, grab a few beers, and let's get into it. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more on the September 25th, 2025. Today's show, as always, brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code BELLYUP over there at SeatGeek and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. We are part of that Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles, and be sure to tune in on Sunday night, I guess. Yeah, we're doing Sunday night. Vince Stover's hosting from the Sports Stove podcast. He's hosting the Belly Up Super Show to talk about the Major League Baseball playoffs. Since we a lot to talk about, a lot of fun hooking up with Vince and all the other guys we got coming on that show. Thanks for everybody who listens to the show, subscribes, and everything else. And as we talk about that, make sure you subscribe, like, share, all that stuff, and hit the notification button on the YouTube channel. Make sure you don't miss out on the great shows that we have over there at the Belly Up Media Network. And lots going on, a lot of football talk going on in Belly Up, but it's baseball season at its best. These races are. It's hard to believe what's happening in the Major League Baseball. A week ago, my New York Yankees were down 5 games from the Toronto Blue Jays, and get into that in half a second. But now they're all knotted up as we speak here tonight. Both teams are winning out, so they're going to the last weekend of the season. Best of 3, not playing each other, which is unfortunate. It would be even better to see those two teams matching up to end the season. But it's been an unbelievable race and unbelievable things going on. You look at what's happening out there in Detroit with their meltdown. I think they at one point had a 16-game lead on the Cleveland Guardians, and now they're all knotted up going to last week of the season. Cleveland overtook the lead last night with a big win that they had over Detroit. But then Detroit got it back to square one with 3 games left, so it's kind of odd to get to, but we won't get into that. What I want to get into is I was kind of laughing a little bit. I was listening to I got Ryan from the Captain's Corner coming in on Monday. We're going to talk, and he's the most positive Yankee guy going. And I was listening to his podcast this morning. He's dabbling into that a little bit. His Twitter account's fantastic. That's at Captain's Corner on Twitter, or X, or you want to call it. And he's a positive guy, and he's always got good things going on. And he was talking this morning. We were chatting back and forth via text a couple of days ago to get him hooked up to come on the show on Monday. And we were, if you those listen to the show a little bit, you remember we were talking way back when, before the season started, that everything's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Yankees, they lost Cole. He's out. This guy, they lost Soto. But we're like, hey, everything's going to be okay. And then it turns out that I'm a complete moron, because I got away from thinking that everything's going to be okay. I got away from thinking that it's the long haul, not the short sprint. And baseball is the long haul, and that's the one thing that we baseball fans love about it. It's nerve-wracking to say the least. It's 6 months. It's long, but it goes by quick. I can't believe we're already talking about the end of the baseball season on this 25th day of September. But that's the way it works out. But if you remember back in August, I was out in Victoria, and I was in a hotel room. I did a podcast. It was the second or third day, and the Yankees were some pretty dire straits. And I was like everybody else, fire Boone, get rid of this guy, do this. Cashman's a bum, and it's not over yet. And they haven't accomplished anything. They're in a playoff spot, but whatever. But here's the deal. Turns out none of us know what we're talking about. None of us know what we're talking about, because so much can go wrong and so much can happen during Major League Baseball season. Guys can get hot. Guys can get some guy can come up out of nowhere. Trent Grisham. Who would have thought he would hit 30-plus home runs and replace Soto? I was big on Bellinger when the Yankees got him. I was huge on that. Huge on that. I was like, great. So we were all bashing Carlos Rodon, and we were all bashing this guy and bashing that guy, and Judge was hurt, and what's he done, and playoff success is yet to hit him. But everything has kind of come up roses with the Yankees, and it's funny how we were all bashing them, and they might end up with the best record in the American League. That's pretty good. And 3 days left in the season. After tonight, they're like I said, they're still tied right now, so they're going to go up with three days left in the season, and they got a chance to win the American League East, and they got a chance to be the number one seed in the American League, just like they were last year. So we were all up in arms back in August when things weren't going so well, and we were hitting the panic button, which we all do, and every sports fan does it, no matter what sport you watch. With football, it's more of a sprint than a marathon. Obviously, when teams start off 0-3, like, oh God, we're not doing so much here. NCAA football, I don't want to call it NCAA, I don't call college football, but your team starts off 0-2, you're done. Like you're actually done, unless you're Notre Dame and you somehow find a way to win a game and you're all 1-2 and you have a ranking all of a sudden. And USC is really good. We'll get to that in half a second too. I want to talk about that on Saturday night. That game starting at 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Jesus, late night for Brent. But it's fantastic how this Major League Baseball season, as they all do, wind up the way they are. It's a long stretch, and you don't know what you're going to get. You can lose a whole bunch of games early and find a way to get back into it. You can't, and you can win a bunch of games late and find a way to get your way back into it. A 16-game lead like Detroit Tigers had, that's insurmountable. How this can happen and how the Guardians can win 18 out of 20 or whatever it was, 16 out of 18, and find their way back in. It's phenomenal how to do that. How they found a way to do that. And then, but it has to be the perfect cloud. It has to be the perfect situation where both teams. One has to do really good and one has to do really bad, as happened with those two teams. And it's going to make for an unbelievable weekend of baseball. I really wish that baseball would have not got rid of that game 163. Now they have if you won the season series and blah, 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 you end up winning the division. I think it would be fantastic somehow if the Yankees and the Blue Jays played a 1-game 63 on Monday afternoon. It would be awesome. It would be just unbelievable how great that would be. And if you had Cleveland playing Detroit on Monday afternoon for game 163, and punish these guys for blowing these leads. Punish these guys. I don't think punish is the right word, but you know what I mean. Punish these guys a little bit for not winning that game in April. Punish these guys for not, sweeping the Miami Marlins. Find a way for this to happen because it was such great theater a couple of years back when they had this. I think there was 2 or 3 a couple of years ago. And it was so great. Like Major League Baseball still does it really well on Sunday. Like they start all the games at 1 o'clock. So all the TVs will be on here at Yankee Tower North. I got 4 of them down here, and it's something up and 1 on the phone. So all the games will be on, the important games. And it's such great theater, and it's so fun to watch. And how every year it comes down to one game. And nail biters no matter what. It's so great to watch. And anybody who doesn't watch baseball this time of year, you got to check your pulse a little bit because this is going to be a fantastic finish. You got teams that are trying not to play whoever, but the New York Yankees have a shot right now of doing something that hasn't been done in 16 years. And they're just as good as anybody. They are. They're just as good as anybody in baseball. Nobody's a standout. Nobody's a fire wagon like in hockey. You got the Florida Panthers. Nobody's got anything lit up for anything. This could be a very, very interesting World Series and Major League Baseball playoff. And I really believe that we're going to see something that hasn't been done before. I think we're going to see somebody pull this thing off. I think the Milwaukee Brewers, because they clinched a long time ago, so they can kind of set things up. They don't got to win a bunch of games right now. I think you're going to see someone like the Milwaukee Brewers pull this one off. I really do, and they won't grab the balls of the nation and be they won't be uh, what's the word I'm looking for? They won't be eye grabbers. They won't be attention getters. They won't be ratings grabbers. But for baseball fans, it might be fun to watch. I think the Milwaukee Brewers have a real shot at doing some damage here in the playoffs. And it's just as a Yankee fan, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I don't know how much I trust the Yankees. I think that they're fine. Like we said back with Captain's Corner, I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to win their first round, pending where they end up. I think they really have to get past not being that wild card team because you don't want to play Boston. You don't want to play Boston because Boston and the Yankees are just the Yankees really haven't done so well against the Boston Red Sox since 2003. 2004, we all know the whole story and blah blah blah. Dave Roberts, and so it goes. But the Yankees don't want to play that. They like to have a week off and not have to worry, not a week, but 5 days off, and not have to worry about playing a best of three. Because you lose that first game. This is a crazy stat, and I don't know how true it is. I kind of want to listen to, but you everybody who wins the first game of that best of three, since the best of three wild card got into inception, they have won that series, right? So you lose game one, so it's pitcher against pitcher, and what do? So it's very tough that if you lose game one, so you don't want to get in that situation where best of five is more doable. And then another thing that you have is that before you know it, it could be over. Like if whoever loses is in this wild card round, it's over by Wednesday. Whoever loses, and it's kind of a downer. You played two more games, maybe three more games in Miami. You played three more games in Colorado. You played three more games in the lowly White Sox, who each lost 100 games. So you want that maybe a few days off where you don't start maybe till Thursday, maybe Friday, and then the DS starts, and then and then the weather starts changing a little bit because the weather here in Canada, like where I am in Western Canada in Alberta, it's been fantastic. Like it's been 29, 30 degrees, which is uh, 85, 86 degrees this late in the year. It's fantastic. It doesn't get blizzardy. It doesn't get cold. Like our weather is actually better than most northeastern American states. For people who don't know what's going on here, but it's a great time of year to be a baseball fan. And the way how Major League Baseball's done it to keep teams relevant, and I'm not a big fan of it, but I like it because it keeps teams relevant to the game 159. Uh, like I'm an old school guy, and win division, lose division, you're in, out, done, see you later. But it keeps people relevant, keeps people interested. And this implosion of the Blue Jays, we'll get into that right now. Actually, the Jays had a 5 game lead a week ago. So you're like, it's over. The division's over. There's nothing going on. There's no way they're gonna blow this. And they blew it. They're still in the lead. They're up 6-1 right now on the Red Sox, and so they won 1 out of 3, and the Yankees are winning, so they're going to go into the weekend tied. But this Blue Jays implosion's been kind of funny, and for those of you who listen to the show, I'm a big proponent when the Jays are relevant. I like it because more people are watching, more people are involved, more people are engaged. So I love it as a baseball fan. But this Jays implosion, it's been kind of an epic thing. And Vladdy Guerrero Jr., today, John Schneider, talk about him in 2 seconds too, but John Schneider basically that Vladdy has to be our guy. He just needs to have a couple good at-bats, not hit home runs, not do anything. But what he did today, he legged out one infield single, and then he slid into first base on a Trevor Story error that got the things rolling in the game tonight. And he had to be the guy. And you're giving the guy $40+ million a year. He had to be that guy, and he hasn't been that guy. And he's, in fact, since Bichette's been down, he hasn't been good at all. I've been watching a lot more Blue Jays baseball in the last week and a half than I have all season long, but he hasn't been good. And tonight he kind of stepped up a little bit and got the job done. They're going to end up. I'm just watching as we record this right now. The Jays won, so as of this moment, they're half a game up on the Yankees, who are up 5-3 in the 8th. But it's great to watch. And at this point of the year, when you pay a guy this much money, they got to step up and they got to be the guy. It was kind of funny when we were me and Deanne went over to Brown Social House, a local watering hole, and had a couple of pops after work today. We were just watching the game a little bit and weren't really paying attention to who was starting for the Jays. But on the drive back to the house, you heard that it was. I think it was 15 up, 15 down. Like, holy Christ, on the radio. And then you turn on the TV, and then all of a sudden it's into the sixth inning, and they're 18 up, 18 down. I'm like, holy Christ, we got a perfect game alert. And then I saw John Schneider come out. John Schneider pulled the pitcher. I was like, what the hell's going on? The guy's perfect through six. They're making a pitching change. Turns out they went with an opener. And I didn't know. So my initial thought was like, what the F is going on here? I didn't swear. We're at 15 minutes and 45 seconds without swearing. And I was just like, okay, they pulled the pitcher. So I went through I went into the app. I said, okay, they have a start. They had an opener, and this guy who they're just pulling wasn't perfect through six. I was like, okay, this is forgivable. So I almost came on the air tonight saying, basically saying, like, what the hell's wrong with baseball? Like, I had a huge rant available in my head that, like, what's going on here? What are we doing? But it was quite funny. So I did some research for one of the first times in 1420 history, in the 5-year illustrious history of the 1420 podcast, For Beer Sports Talking a whole lot more, where I actually did some research and actually saved me, because I didn't need people coming at me saying, yeah, you're a bigger idiot than we thought, by not realizing what was going on. But it was a gutsy effort by the Jays tonight to get that win, that much needed win. Now they got 3 with Tampa, and what's going to happen? Can the Jays win one? Yeah. I wouldn't put Scherzer in ever again. And when I had the walk-off podcast and on the podcast a few weeks ago, I was I don't know if I alluded to it or not, but I basically said, like, this Bieber Scherzer combination was great 5 years ago, 4 years ago. But what is it now? And we're seeing it from Scherzer late in the season. He hasn't been good lately. So what are they going to do with their starting rotation in Toronto? What are they going to do? But I tell you what, they have just as good a shot as anybody in the American League right now. I don't know if Cleveland has it. Cleveland just never has it. Cleveland, right? They just never do it. But it's going to be interesting how it all pans out. I am really, really, really invested in this Yankee team, though, and not just because I'm a Yankee fan. I was talking to someone around the ballpark over at Space Stadium today, and he's quite excited. He's not a Jays or a Yankee guy, and he was just like, it's going to be electric, how well they're playing, what they're doing, and how they put it all together. And the team's really good. The team is really good. Can their bullpen hold up, though? I who knows? I mean, bullpens are dynamite, no matter what you like. They're just, you light the wick, and who knows what could happen. But the Yankee baseball's better off in general. Like I've always said before, when the Jays are relevant in Canada, or relevant in baseball, more people watch. But in general, when the Yankees are rolling, people watch, whether they're a Yankee fan or not, because people hate the Yankees. They hate seeing them succeed, and they have a chance to succeed. They have just as good a chance as anybody. Will this be the year finally that Aaron Judge gets out of his playoff funk, I guess you could say? Is Jazz Chisholm Jr., is he the guy who's going to win an MVP in the playoffs? Very well could be. The Judge thing is kind of fun. It's going to be fun to watch, because he's been so good in the regular season forever. I mean, he probably should win an MVP this year just for his stats, but I have to disagree a little bit with some other people I've listened to, that maybe Judge isn't the MVP. He's the best player in baseball, in my opinion. His stats say this, but being the most valuable player, the most outstanding player, are two different things. He's been the most outstanding player in baseball. Aaron Judge, batting average, 52 home runs, I think it is, 100 whatever RBIs, OPS, and blah, blah, blah. All the stats have been, obviously, the stats are off the charts. But you got a guy in Cal Raleigh out in Seattle who has 60, I think he's at 60 right now at the time of this recording, and pushing his team to playoffs. They've got a very good pitching staff, obviously. But I think for a guy like that to be able to push a team, because it's the most valuable player to your team, and what he's done for his team means a lot more. I think that's what MVP is. Would the Yankees survive without Judge? They wouldn't. they wouldn't be better off without Judge. But without Cal Raleigh, the Mariners aren't where they're at. The Yankees are probably a wild card team, but you know what I'm getting at. They're probably really close to being a playoff team without Judge. Without Raleigh, the Mariners are nowhere close. So that's what the MVP actually most valuable player to your team. So that's what it actually means. It's crappy for me to say that Judge is going to get robbed from another MVP award. He should have won 2017, and that little rodent Altuve won it, and he probably should have won one this year. But that's how it is. And it's probably voter fatigue a little bit because Judge has to get to another level. If he doesn't hit 63 home runs or 64 home runs, it's a down year. So there's a little bit of voter fatigue. Well, yeah, Judge is supposed to do that. He's supposed to be this guy. So that's why he won't get the votes he's supposed to get. Like Judge is still the best player, in my opinion, in baseball. I think you Ohtani lovers can tell me something differently, but Judge is a needle mover for sure. And you wonder where it's all going to end up when the voters all get together on when the season's over. And no, people, playoff success doesn't matter in MVP voting. So don't even pretend that it does. It's going to be fun. I think this will be one of the better playoffs where we have any going on. I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen. Could the San Diego Padres finally overstep the LA Dodgers? Remember last year in the playoffs, they had them down 2-0 and the Padres came back, or the Dodgers came back and won that to end up winning the World Series. Is this Philadelphia's year? Philadelphia's really good. And Schwarber's having himself an MVP season. That guy's real good. And he's putting himself in a Hall of Fame type of stats. So it's going to be fun to see how that all turns out with that. But I think anybody could win this thing. I really do. And then we're going to see 45 more champagne and beer celebrations. And you guys know that I'm not a big, you get in the playoffs, you celebrate. You win this, you celebrate. You win this, you celebrate. You haven't done fuck all. There it is, 22:07 into the show. Yeah, there it is. You haven't done anything. Like winning a champ, like it's a grind. I understand that, and you don't get many chances to do this. It's hard, and getting to the playoffs is hard. And you want to. It's a long season, and it's a grind. So you want to let loose a little bit and let your hair down a little bit. And I don't think those guys are getting hammered when they win or they clinch the playoff spot. It's sponsored by Budweiser. More is getting spilled on the ground. It's getting put down their mouth. They should send that beer my way. I could use that, but it's I don't think anyone's going to hammer it up on a Wednesday night after clinching division. They spray champagne and they spray beer around. I don't think anybody's getting all gunned up so they can't play the next day. But I just think it's kind of weak. Like I said, actually, when I said not in when I was on Victoria, the Jays or the Yankees have no right celebrating a wild card spot, and they haven't. They celebrate getting the playoffs, which I thought was weak. But when you win the division, then you should celebrate. Don't celebrate just being the best, the sixth best team. What's that mean? Nothing. Like it means nothing. You got to move on. Win the division, then you can celebrate. Don't celebrate after the wild card. Don't, because you still got work to do. Don't celebrate after the DS because you still got a lot of work to do. CS, I give it to you. After the CS, you can celebrate because you won the American League, and that's an achievement. No one can, and then obviously World Series. But make sure you're doing it properly. Don't just celebrate. It's like celebrating the first time you kissed a girl, celebrating the first time you went to first base, second base, third base. I think you guys know what I'm talking about when I talk first base, second base, third base. I'm not talking baseball there. Probably shouldn't be talking that at all. But Jim fan event, probably gonna laugh at that one. But and hey, Jim, don't go away. Don't do that. Just keep plugging away, man. Your show is great, and you have great enthusiasm. I love it. But it's gonna be fun to see how it all turns out. I'm excited. I'm excited to be a Yankee fan. I'm excited to see how this all going to turn out. As a baseball fan, more than anything, I'm just excited how it's all great. I always wonder. I always wonder when people say that baseball's boring. And I think I've talked about this in the past in the show and back in the other renditions that the show's been on. It's the furthest thing from boring. I was talking with the owner of Browns about a week ago, talking about the game of baseball and how he's a baseball guy. He does some broadcasts for us at Spitz for the Bulls games. He does play-by-play. Him and his brother Jay. And Dave's the same as me. He's like, how every pitch matters so much when it comes down to this point of the season, and how you're biting your nails and how your nerves. The Yankees just pulled 1-5-3, so they'll go into the weekend three tied up with 3 games to go. And I get back to Dave in half a second. Everybody who says if you would take being 3 games to go, if you would take 3 games to go with a chance to win the division, would you take it? Most people would say yes. I'd say no. We should have won a game in April. We should have won a game in May. We should have won a game in June. We should have won a game in July. Every game matters. So no, I'm not. I'm happy I have the opportunity, but I'm also pissed off myself that I didn't win the division, that I didn't win those games against Miami, the games against Chicago, the games against whoever, against Colorado, which the Yankees did. I'd be pissed off right now if I'm the Yankees. I'd be pissed off right now if I'm the Jays to not wrap this thing up. Yeah, you're glad you're in that position, but I'd be like, oh boy, we could have wrapped this thing up 3 weeks ago, resting starters, resting this, resting that, blah, blah, blah. And they'll have to play game 1, 6, 2, that's what matters. So anybody who says, would you rather be in this position? If you're the Cleveland Guardians, you're happy as hell. You're happy as hell. Detroit Tigers, you're not happy. Like, oh boy. What have we got ourselves into here? They're not happy. They're not happy at all. Probably a little perturbed. It's going to be fun. And we'll break it all down on the Belly Up Major League Baseball Playoff Super Show on Sunday night, 7:30. I think 7:30. I should probably check that up. I think it's 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, and it'll be up on podcasts everywhere else. But anyways, the baseball's great. It's so great. Like every pitch matters. Oh, let's talk about Dave. We were talking about this. I'm getting rambling here a little bit. Dave and I were talking from Browns there about how every pitch matters so much, and how there's silence that comes across like at the bar, and there's just like, oh geez, the anticipation. Whereas football, it's faster and goes, and hockey, pucks bouncing around, where the anticipation just what's going to happen, and it's so great, and it gets magnified so much in the next month. It's going to be mesmerizing, and I can't wait to be a part of it and watch it and share it with you. We'll get to our, like I said, I have Ryan coming on from the Captain's Corner podcast on Monday night, the most positive guy. And turns out, you know what? We were right. It's going to be okay. We said it back in April. It's going to be okay, and it is. And the Yankees have a shot at winning themselves a world championship, and who knows. Will they win? I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch, though. And many other teams do, too. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then probably get some other, like last year, I did a lot more Yankee shows with some Yankee fans on, just to see how far they go and see how it all works out. But it should be a lot of fun. Anyways, that's the segment 1 of the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. That segment was brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code BELLYUP over there at SeatGeek and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Here's a word from our friends over there at Righteous Felon Jerky. Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon Jerky. There it is. Go to righteousfelon.com and get yourself 15% off their the best jerky in the land, the best craft jerky in the land over there. Righteous Felon, save yourself 15% by using promo code BELLYUP over there at Righteous Felon for some great beef jerky, which everyone loves some jerky. Anyways, I've kind of kept away from Leafs talk a little bit because it's nauseating, but I'll add to it. And I kept away from it about a month ago, and maybe not that long ago, when Mitch Marner had his little speech there talking about there was a situation there where he had some death threats, he said, and things weren't happy in Leafs land for him, and he didn't didn't like the way things ended up, and everybody kind of knew he was leaving. He wanted a different departure from from the Leafs than what maybe the Leafs fans wanted. But it's kind of getting infuriating now because everywhere you turn turn it on there. I'm a Leafs guy. That it's all about Mitch Marner. What are they going to do without Marner? What are they going to do without Marner? What are they going to do without Marner? Well, who cares? They're going to find out. They're going to find out. And Marner didn't want to be a Toronto Maple Leaf anymore, and that's his God-given right or is not God-given, but that's his right as a National Hockey League player. That he only you play your contract out, then you can leave. You can leave whenever you want. But the way he decided to flap his gums kind of left a real sour taste in my mouth. And I've never been a Marner guy. I think he's a puke. I think he's a puke to the nth degree. He would kind of the way he ended up at the London Knights, the way his father acted with the Leafs and the agents, and I've always thought he's a little bit of a puke. And then last year in the playoffs, when he was yelling at his teammates to figure it out, and he's one of the worst players on the ice. I was good riddance when Marner left. My brother-in-law is a big Leafs fan, obviously, but I was talking to him, and he's kind of the same way. But my question was, well, where are you gonna get those points back from? Like, where are you gonna get 100 points? That's a lot of points. That's a lot of goals, a lot of assists, the power play, and on it goes. But I think the Leafs will be a better team without that negative cancer in the dressing room, and I think that matters a lot with today's athlete. You don't have those Uber guys anymore. You don't have those guys that will punch a guy. I'm not saying you should punch a guy, but I think you know what I'm saying. You don't have those guys anymore that are those Uber males that control a dressing room anymore. I don't think you have that, but I think that and because of that, you have a guy like Marner who can be a bit of a cancer in the dressing room. And that whole story that he had, that he got the death threats and everything else, I don't think it's true. And I'll tell you why. I could be wrong. I mean, I was wrong about the Yankees. I was wrong about this. I was wrong. I'll tell you why I don't think it's true. The Toronto Maple Leafs are bigger than anything in Toronto and the province of Ontario. They're bigger than anything. And when you're a superstar in the province, in the city of Toronto, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, nothing gets by anybody in the media. If that story was true about him being harassed by a stalker and death threats and everything else, it would have been front page news. There wasn't a peep. Nothing until he was gone. Why did he wait till that point to even kind of bring something up? It was this is why I left. It was an excuse that didn't line up to what he was saying, his agent was saying. It was all a bunch of BS, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I admitted myself being wrong earlier on in this episode tonight. But I think it was a load of crap he was trying to push it on the Toronto public and the Toronto Maple Leafs fans of why he left. He was giving a reason why he left and blaming somebody else. And that's why, and Marner's been such a puke throughout his career, blaming everybody else for his misfortune, blaming everybody else for the team's failures, but never taking any accountability for himself. Never once has Mitch Marner said, I got to be better. Never. Throughout his minor hockey career, Mitchie Marner's always been the golden boy. Mitchie's always been this guy. His father's always been that way too. It was a load of absolute crap that Mitch Marner had death threats. Because if it happened, Toronto's a great big city, but it's small, and they're all Leafs fans, and it would have got out there. It would have got to the media. It would have got everywhere. And with Twitter and X and Insta and on it goes. It was a bunch of crap, and Mitch Marner tried to push it off that he was leaving Toronto because it was everybody else's fault, just as Mitch Marner has always done. Like a lot of athletes always do. It's always somebody else's fault till it's not. This one's on you, Mitch. If you wanted to go, just go. You were on your way to having yourself a Leafs Hall of Fame jacket, a Leafs blah, 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 the Ring of Honor, whatever they call it there in Toronto. Well on your way. But you decided you didn't like it because the heat got a little too hot for you, old Mitchie. So you went to different pastures. Are you going to win a championship in Vegas? Probably not, because you're a cancer. Mitch Marner is an absolute cancer in dressing rooms. Are the Leafs going to miss him? Yeah, you miss the points, but they'll find a way. They didn't win with him, or they'll yeah. What I always say, we lost with you, we'll lose without you. Same thing. The Leafs are better off without him. And you look at a guy like John Tavares, who is on the back nine of his career, and he basically he took a team friendly deal, playing for $4 million. Marner's already made how much money over the years? 87, 88, 90 million bucks. If you are such this diehard Toronto guy like you say you are, like you said you were, and then you do that, it shows exactly who you were. I hope when you show up, I hope when they, and I'm whatever, it's childish, but I wouldn't mind it. When Marner shows up and they play his little video, I hope the Leafs faithful boo him out of the building. He was never for the Leafs. Mitchy Marner's been for Mitchy Marner's entire time he's played there. No sweat on his hair, nothing. Salad dry. No dressing on that thing in a playoff game. And that showed exactly who he was. And his BS about getting stalked and everything else, not being treated well, be better. Be better. And have a smaller, have bigger shoulders, I guess. Yeah, you're making $12.5 million, man. Sometimes you got to eat a little shit to make gravy taste good. And he couldn't do it. He's not big enough for the bright lights. Mitch Marner's not big enough for the bright lights and pushing things on with fake scenarios and fake stories. Those stories aren't true. There's no way those stories are true. If they were true, we would have heard about it a long time before Mitch Marner would ever brought it up. I would have went on and on, but getting a little long here, and I got to go and eat dinner. It's 40 minutes into this thing, but it's the best time of the year. But I got one rant. I got two. USC Michigan State should not be starting at 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time on a Saturday night. 11 o'clock in Michigan. No one can stay up that late and watch. You tailgate all day long. You're drinking beers, whatever. You're in bed. It's a stupid decision, and that's why this Pac-12 Big Ten mergers never go. It's just not working. UCLA has already blown it. Obviously, it's a stupid idea. I said it before, and I'll say it again. It was a dumb idea. They should have went Pac-12 or Big 12 or Big 10 West, Big 10 East, and do it that way. The way they have this now, it's completely messed up. No one knows who's playing. Now, USC is going to be playing on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock in a conference game. That's dumb. That's completely dumb, and it's not how this should work. I hate it. I hate every last second about it. I've never liked it. It's the second year of it. It's stupid. Is competition better? Maybe, but not for sure. It's completely asinine to have a game start, an East Coast team starting a game at 11 o'clock their time. Competitive advantage. It's stupid. It shouldn't. They got to figure this out. They cannot continue to do this. The NCAA, whoever's in charge of this whole schmozzle, I know it's money. I know it's ratings. I know it's networks. I know, but figure it out. These kids shouldn't be doing that. It's unsafe. It's not fun. No one should be watching that game that time of night. It's dumb. It's ridiculous. Second rant, and we'll get out of here. Anybody who says they like autumn, fall, whatever you might be, the month of October, other than for sports, because it's the best month for sports with hockey starting, NFL's in full swing, college football's in full swing, and of course the Major League Baseball playoffs are in full swing, are going. Anybody who says they like fall is an idiot, an absolute idiot. I've worn shorts every day since April, and sandals most days. It's getting colder. The leaves are starting to fall. So now I got extra work to do. Mowing the lawn's one thing. Raking leaves sucks. They're everywhere. It sucks. Anybody who says they like fall is a complete liar. They're full of shit. Nobody likes pulling out those sweaters. You don't like pulling those sweaters out at whatever time of year because it's cute. Wear it at Christmas time for 3 days. Have 3 sweaters. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. That's all the sweaters you need. You don't need to all this crap, this mocha latte, this pumpkin spice, all this crap. You can have that and whatever you want. Fall is the worst time of the year because it's bringing on impending doom. Impending doom that snow is coming. And it's not just here in Canada. It's right across Northeast, Northwest, whatever it might be. Doom is coming. So for all those people that say they love the fall because the temperatures are falling a little bit, talk to me when you got to plug your freaking car in. Talking to your shoveling frickin' snow. You don't have to do that in frickin' June. You don't got to do that in July. All that crap that people are like, oh, it's so beautiful. The changing of the leaves. No, man. No. I remember years ago, what year was it? 2000 and I don't know, 2010, 2011 to 2015. I used to go to LA every year in November for the USC Notre Dame games. They ain't raking leaves. There's a reason why 30 million people live in California. Beautiful. People who say they like the fall, they're FOS, full of shite. Anyways, I got a lot more to say about that, but anyways, we're running along here. 40 minutes, 19 seconds. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. On Sunday night, make sure you tune into the YouTube Belly Up Super Show, talking about Major League Baseball playoffs. It's going to be a great conversation about baseball to get it all going, because it gets going for real on Tuesday. Hopefully the Yankees have a division win by that point on Sunday. It's 3 games left, and they're all tied up. He's loved me in that spot. And then Monday night, got Ryan from the Captain's Corner to talk Yankees baseball and our playoff hopes, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, just like we said back in April. And I'm an idiot because back in August, I wrote him off. I completely wrote him off, and I was wrong. It happens now and then throughout my life. It's happened a time or two throughout my illustrious 51 years on this great green earth. Anyways, that's the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Make sure you guys listen to Two Dudes of Sports News. Jim over there at Fan of the Van, obviously, he's got a lot going on. He gets a little bit in his own head sometimes, but he puts on a great show. Cigar and Sports and Steel and Teal and everything else got going on. Guys over there, Craft Brewed Sports, one of my favorites, so I listen to it all the time. But there's an Vince Stover over at the Sports Stove, and No Credits Required on Belly Up Network, and a bunch of podcasts. Make sure you support the all podcasts. I mean, don't just listen to the Overdrives and the Michael K's of the world and the John Boy Medias of the world. Listen to the guys like myself that we put a lot of effort into this. We don't get a lot of pats in the back. We appreciate the downloads and listens and the feedback. The feedback's really good. Follow us on X at _1420, Twitter, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, there it is. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Be kind, take care of each other, more importantly, take care of yourselves and year round. Keep you stick on the ice, don't swing at high pitches, and remember, it doesn't matter where you are, it's who you're with. Have yourselves a great weekend, folks, and we'll talk to you again on Monday night. Thanks for tuning in to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. For Beer and Sports, talking a whole lot more, brought to you by SeatGeek. Go to bellyupsports.com for the best of sports articles and podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever it is you get your podcast.